Today, we have a story for you that is, well, it's just unbelievable. It's all about the power of the human mind and how it can help us overcome odds that seem completely impossible. This is the story of a man who was told his life's passion was over and how he proved that the biggest mountains we'll ever face are the ones we build inside our own heads.
Just imagine hearing those 5 words. Your climbing days are over. And this isn't just some random opinion. This is coming from experts, doctors, people who know. It's meant to be a fact, a final, undeniable truth. But for mountaineer Mark Inglis, this statement wasn't the end. Nope, it was the beginning of his real fight.
So, to really understand just how incredible his journey is, we've got to go back to the event that changed everything, the climb that would redefine his entire life. Okay, so picture this. It's 1988. Mark Inglis is climbing Mount Cook, the highest peak in New Zealand. All of a sudden, a monster storm just rolls in, trapping him and his partner inside a tiny snow cave. And they weren't stuck for a day or two. We're talking 14 days. When rescuers finally found them, they were alive, yeah, but survival had come at a terrible, terrible cost.
The damage from the cold was just brutal, irreversible. Mark lost both of his legs below the knee because of severe frostbite. Now, for a world-class climber, this is, you can imagine, it's seen as the ultimate career-ending disaster. The very tools of his trade, his legs, were gone.
The physical challenge was obviously immense, but what came next was just as powerful, maybe even more so. It was this giant wave of disbelief from everyone. A huge wall of no just went up all around him.
And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. The doctors laid down the final word. His friends, trying to be supportive, were basically saying, hey, just be happy you're alive. When he started talking about climbing again, sponsors flat out rejected him. His fellow climbers actually laughed at him. The public, they just thought he was crazy. The message from the entire world was loud and clear. Give up.
And this is where the whole story turns on its head. Faced with all this doubt, Mark made a decision. He realized this wasn't a battle he was going to win on a mountain. He had to win it in his mind first.
This right here, this became his new mantra. He completely reframed the problem. It wasn't about missing legs. It was about building a mind that was absolutely unshakable. And that one thought, that one idea, became the foundation for one of the greatest comebacks in the history of mountaineering. Just look at the difference here. It's so stark. The external reality, what the world saw, was a double amputee whose career was over. But his internal belief? He was an Everest climber who was just getting ready for his next expedition. He simply chose to live in the reality he was creating, not the one that everyone else was trying to force on him.
And let's be clear, this wasn't just wishful thinking. This belief turned into a real, concrete plan. He spent years in brutal preparation. First, he trained his mind to master pain, to push past those mental barriers. Second, he basically became an engineer, working to design custom prosthetics that could handle the insane challenges of climbing. And third, he pushed his body to a level of physical conditioning that most people would think is just impossible.
So all of it, the mental toughness, the custom-built legs, the punishing physical training, it was all leading to one single place, the ultimate test, the highest mountain on the entire planet.
And that brings us to this day. 18 years after he was told his climbing days were finished, after all those years of people telling him no, after all that relentless, mind-bending preparation.
Mark Inglis stood on the summit of Mount Everest. He became the first ever double amputee to reach the top of the world. He did the one thing that the entire world told him was impossible.
But hold on, the story isn't over, not even close, because getting to the peak, as amazing as that is, wasn't the most important part of this journey. The real summit, the true lesson he learned, came on the way down. While he was making his way down, Mark came across another climber who was in serious trouble. The guy was suffering from severe frostbite, he was totally exhausted, and he was just ready to give up, ready to die on that mountain. He had lost all hope. And this is just wow. This is Mark's entire philosophy in action. He looked at this dying man, and he didn't offer sympathy. He offered perspective. He used his own impossible journey as a tool, right there in that critical moment, to completely change another person's reality.
And it worked. Those words sparked something. The other climber found the strength to get up and keep going. He made it down the mountain. He survived. So Mark's mindset didn't just get him to the top of the world, it literally saved another man's life.
So, what's the big takeaway from this whole incredible story? Well, it redefines a word we all use every day: limitation. A limitation isn't a physical thing. It's not your circumstances. It is simply an idea in your head. An idea that you can either choose to believe or choose to reject.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about for ourselves. Mark Inglis completely shattered the world's definition of his limits. So what about you? What's your Everest? And what limitation in your life only exists because you believe it does?